Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstro of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the latest and greatest current events that are happening here in Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Springstro, and as always, we are joined by our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Mark, welcome, and thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead, dive into our hot topics for the first half of today's show, and then after that, we will review the City Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, May 9th, 2017. So Mark, the first thing that we want to talk about under our current events updates is See-Click Fix. We talked a little bit about it on our last episode when we had first unveiled it, and it's been active for about 2 weeks so far, and people are starting to kind of pick up on it.
Yeah, they sure are. It's you're going to hear it by a couple names. You're going to hear See-Click Fix, which is the brand name that the city purchased, but it's also called Connect Oshkosh, and I think it's going well so far. It's a way for you to connect with the city about anything you might see out there that you want us to take a look at and fix. And Connect Oshkosh is what the app is on either the iTunes or Android site to get an app. So you can literally just go down there and get the app and you're ready to go. But this gives you an idea of where service requests are from citizens throughout the city. And if you happen to see something, literally you see it, you click it with your phone and then send it over to us and we'll take care of it.
Yes, and it's a great opportunity for city employees as well. It kind of streamlines things and puts a little bit of a sense of accountability there as well. And in addition, as a citizen, when you give a complaint, you give that complaint and then you never hear about it again. So with this, you're able to kind of track the progress of where the problem is and how they're taking care of it, and then it all leads up to closing that complaint when it's solved. So it's really a cool thing.
Yeah, anytime that a resident wants to get something fixed, they'll call City Hall and they just all they want is somebody to help take care of something that they saw. But if it's one of these gray areas, they don't necessarily know who to call. But if you've got a certain problem, we've got about 28 different categories, and we have that program so that it goes to the exact right person who's responsible for fixing those things. Mm-hmm. And that's what's nice about it.
And so it's also available on the city website. You can access it there if you do not use a smartphone like an iPhone or an Android. But just make sure you search for Connect Oshkosh when you're downloading the app. And as you can see on the app, there's a lot of other really cool features. You can access Oshkosh Media there. You can access the city website. It's not only for reporting problems. You can also access a lot of other great resources for the city.
Yeah, and that's why we decided for our specific name to call it Connect Oshkosh, because it goes well beyond just reporting some type of pothole or something like that. But if you see a pothole, certainly let us know about it and we'll get on top of those things.
Definitely. Well, thanks for the update. We're looking forward to more people picking up on that and taking advantage of it. Next thing we want to talk about, Mark, is the Main Street closure coming up. We just put a release out today. There was a water main issue, and so coming up on May 15th through the 19th, North Main Street, northbound traffic will be closed for the repair of that water main.
Right. It's the 400 block from Algoma to Church, so from May 15th to 19th. So, that's the area, part of the area that was reconstructed back in 2010. We discovered a water main break. So, not sure how that happened because that was replaced. So whatever the problem is, we need to get to. Mm-hmm. Parking will be removed on Main Street itself. So, you got to park behind the businesses. But I think a lot of people have been doing that in recent years anyway, just because it's very convenient to do that. So, but look for the detours, because if you travel up and down North Main, you may be inconvenienced, and we certainly want people to be able to get around, and there'll be detours posted and everything.
Definitely. So just a little warning for people that use Main Street often. Make sure you check out the city website. There's always a list of weekly closures on there too, and then there's also some great email update things that you can subscribe to kind of be warned about these things as well. Speaking of construction, it is construction season, and we've got a lot of projects that are coming up here. One of those big ones is New York Ave, and if you've driven past there recently, you see a few things going on over there.
Right. We're trying to get a lot of the utility work done so that when Merrill School closes for the summer, that we can work in earnest on getting the street done before school opens up. So that's why a lot of emphasis has been over right in front of Merrill, and we got to get the utilities out there, and so that's what you're seeing some of our contractors doing right now. It's always an inconvenience when it's a street project, but we ask people to bear with us and avoid New York Avenue. You know, leave New York to the folks at Merrill until everything's cleared out. But that was a pretty rough street. A lot of complaints in recent years, and they were all well-founded. This was a street that was desperately in need of reconstruction.
And you talked about this project at State of the City, and you were really excited about it because this is, I guess you could say, this is the final phase of New York Ave being completely reconstructed.
Exactly. You know, and this is a major east-west corridor, and you know, anybody even on the west side benefits from New York Avenue being done, because if you want to get over to Menominee Park, this is the way to do it. You can shoot across on New York Avenue, and there was always the rumble strips between Wisconsin and Main Street, and now that'll be taken away. And I'm really excited because then we can show that, you know, we've got a lot of problem streets. We know that, and we're working on them. This is a very visual improvement, because now New York Avenue at the end of this year will be done from the river to the lake. Mm-hmm. And I think it just says a lot that we have to be patient, yes, but the good things will come to those who wait.
Yes, and the key word there is patience. So we're very thankful to our citizens and residents for being patient for this whole big project to be done. And yeah, I guess another just reminder is for people to be cautious when they're approaching construction zones as the construction season continues now. We're into spring. Just be careful and make sure you check our city website for lane closures.
And you can subscribe, as you mentioned. You can, yes, subscribe to the update. So if you're interested in New York Avenue, just subscribe to our service and we'll let you know what streets are closed during the summer for this and any other street project. Right. So it's really a benefit to everybody.
Definitely. So enough about construction. I think we've talked about that enough for the show here. Let's move on to some really positive things here. Not that the construction projects aren't positive, but we have an event coming up in a couple of weeks, Mark, and that is the Oshkosh Police Department Honors Event. And now this is the first annual, but we're hoping to make this kind of a regular thing here.
This is something that Chief Dean Smith really wanted to do, to recognize our police officers for all the great work that they do. Often goes unnoticed because a lot of times this is done when you and I are, we're at our homes, we're sleeping, and people don't know about some of the great things that our officers do. And Chief Smith wants to honor those folks, and it's going to be May 18th over at the Convention Center, and just thanking our officers for the service they provide our community.
Yes, so be on the lookout. Take a look at the police department's social media, Facebook and Twitter, or the city website, and we'll hopefully have some updates on that if you're interested in attending. Speaking of honors, Mark, we have a really cool little update here about Chief Tim Franz from the Oshkosh Fire Department.
Yes, Chief Franz has been recognized by Fox Valley Technical College as its Distinguished Alumni of the Year for 2017. And this isn't just a pose. This is Chief Franz in his real life. He is more than just a chief. He truly believes in what he does. He's an instructor at Fox Valley Technical College. He was our training officer before he became fire chief, and he is a person that is out there, on the front lines. He supervises. He takes these 24-hour shifts every once in a while to really get a good feel for what his folks are. So as a professional, I have the utmost respect for Chief Smith. And Fox Valley Technical College knows what he does to the fire profession and to encourage people to enter the fire service. And he's very passionate about that. And the Technical College recognizes that. And it's a well-deserved award. And if anybody embodies distinguished in fire service, he is definitely that person.
Yes. So thank you, Chief Franz, for all of your service. We're so appreciative of it. And, all of us city employees, it's just a joy to work with him, too. He's just genuinely a nice guy as well,
yes,
on top of all the other things. So it's gotten to be that time of the show, Mark, where viewers have the chance to ask their city manager anything they want about things that are going on here, right here in Oshkosh. So let's go ahead and take a look at Question Mark. Mark, the question this week is, any update on Riverwalk completion and what segment is next? I need some more trails to run on around this town. This one came from Twitter this time.
Great, thank you for doing that. We would love to get the questions, and Twitter has been really picking up in terms of people doing it. So,
It definitely has.
so this person obviously wants to see more trails and everything. Well, let me fill you in. This year, we are looking at the section of the Riverwalk on the south side of the river, just west of Oregon Street, the Jackson-Oregon Street Bridge. And this is where it is right now. We're going to be actively working on it for this part of the summer. We have a certain amount of funds between the grants that we've gotten from the state of Wisconsin and the money that we have budgeted. This will stretch it from Oregon as far west as it can go. I don't think this year that we're going to get all the way over to the bridge that's over there near the old Boatworks property, but we're going to get close. And then east of the bridge, you can see that this is what it looks like when it's all done. And there's city centers in the background on the other side of the river, but this is really a wonderful addition to our Riverwalk system.
It looks beautiful.
And once the Morgan property gets taken care of, you're really going to be able to get on the south side of the bridge. And really, I always envisioned people at the Best Western Hotel wanting to do like a loop rather than walking one direction and walking back. This will give them the capability of walking in a loop, which is about a 2-mile loop when all is said and done. That's
Perfect.
pretty cool that people can go for that type of walk completely along the river, along the waterways. And obviously the person asking the question has that in mind. And so it's coming, just be a little patient.
Yes, and we appreciate people taking advantage of these resources too. The Riverwalk has been a huge project for a number of years, and it's just going to continue, and we're really excited about it. So thanks for the update, Mark, and thank you for the question. So if you do have a question that you'd like to ask Mark, we will definitely answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So make sure you send it to us on Twitter, like that question was, or on Facebook, or you can email us at questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and we'll definitely get it on the show. So with that, we're going to do our break a little bit differently today, Mark. We have something really exciting to introduce. Oshkosh Media has been working hard on a new series called Heavy Metal, and it's an opportunity to kind of highlight a big piece of equipment that the city uses, or a big tool, or a heavy metal tool. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first Heavy Metal segment.
My name is Pete Fahrenkrug. I'm a lieutenant with the Oshkosh Fire Department. We're at Whitman Regional Airport Aircraft Rescue Firefighting Station. This is an Oshkosh Stryker 1500 aircraft firefighting vehicle. The primary purpose of the vehicle is for aircraft rescue firefighting on an airport. The truck costs approximately about $800,000, depending on the types of attachments and equipment you have on it. Its length is about 35 feet long. It's a little bit over 11 feet tall. The truck weighs approximately 53,000 pounds fully loaded. The vehicle carries about 1,500 gallons of water, 210 gallons of foam, and 550 pounds of dry chemical agent. The truck has 2 nozzles on it. It has a rooftop turret and a bumper turret. Both nozzles are capable of 750 gallons a minute of water or foam coming out of them. The bumper turret is able to be moved into a lower attack position for special aircraft situations. The bumper turret also is capable of expelling foam along with the dry chemical agent through the nozzle at the same time. This facilitates getting the dry chemical agent a little bit further than what it normally would be able to go in. The vehicle carries 2 occupants during an emergency, the driver and the operator. They're both capable of operating a turret or the bumper nozzles. The firefighter will deploy from the vehicle and operate the hand lines and the need for hand lines. The main difference between this kind of a fire truck and a normal fire truck is the fact that it can squirt water from both of its turrets. It doesn't carry much hose, and it carries a lot more water, in addition to a great amount of foam and dry chemical agent. The truck is capable of pumping and actually driving. It has some under truck nozzles that protect the occupant and the vehicle when it's rolling over flames and debris. Foam or water is capable of coming out of those nozzles. The vehicle is used numerous times during the year. It gets a fair amount of use during the Experimental Aircraft Association's annual fly-in. However, we've used it numerous times since we've had the vehicle in the last 5 years.
All right, we're back here on City Manager's Report. That was the very first segment of our heavy metal series here at Oshkosh Media. Mark, what'd you think? When they say heavy metal, they mean it.
Oh, it's definitely heavy. I was expecting even heavier music, so Scott was pretty light on that. But it does go to show you the complexity of the equipment that we have, and I'm anxious to see what other segments are shown, because I think it'll really be beneficial for the public to get an idea of what these things are behind the scenes. You know, that's the type of equipment you hope never to use, but our folks are out there training on it all the time because they never know when they're going to need it. So I'm really excited and really proud of the work that our folks do. And as this series evolves, you're going to see more and understand more about just what our folks do behind the scenes to keep our community safe.
Definitely. So very excited to debut that first segment here. But now moving on with City Manager's Report, we are going to take a look at the Oshkosh Common Council agenda for Tuesday, May 9th, 2017. Mark, the first item that we want to review here is under the consent agenda, item relating to approving purchases with Enterprise Lighting and Phillips Lighting North America for the South Park Basin retrofit project. And this is a project that you also talked about at State of the City. So tell us a little bit about where this lies.
I was excited about this project from the outset because both Public Works and Parks were working together on something that was mutually beneficial. We certainly need more stormwater retention capabilities in what's called the Stringham Creek area. 10th and Ohio was devastated during the floods of 2008, and even in subsequent lighter storms after that. So we're going to be doing some restoration of the ponds on the shoreline, which is good for the parks. We got a lot of comments this year from people who wanted to see more of that, and you can just see the deterioration. So it is a parks project, but it's also a stormwater project. We're going to be digging a little deeper and giving more stormwater storage capacity for storms, as well as cleaning capacity of those. And you can just see that things have been roughed up a little bit there. What's being done here is just the lighting in the poles, because we're upgrading some lighting for this as part of this project. And what we do is we purchase the equipment, or we purchase the poles and the lighting fixtures in advance so we can get them delivered sooner rather than waiting for the contractor to get the contract awarded. These lighting fixtures are going to go in regardless of who we picked. And then we also save on not having to pay sales taxes on that. So we save on two accounts and keeps the project going quicker.
Yes, and so this is a really cool project. Like you said, it's a collaboration with Parks and Public Works. So as we see things come across on the agenda, even though they don't necessarily relate directly to stormwater, that's part of the Parks side of it, I guess you can say. So next item we want to talk about is approval of the intergovernmental agreement with Waukesha County to provide collection services for delinquent accounts receivables. What exactly is this partnership dealing with, and what does that mean?
Well, Waukesha is a little bit away, but Waukesha County has developed a collection system that they can make available to other partner units of government, and it's for non-ambulance delinquent accounts. So we're going to be using this company, or the Waukesha County, because they've gotten so good at it, and hopefully improve our receivables, and also a way to save taxpayers. Even though it's taxpayers in Waukesha County, eventually that'll come to save our taxpayers money, because we'll get a really good deal on collection services.
Exactly. Wonderful. Well, thank you for the update on that. Moving on down the agenda under new ordinances is designate bicycle lanes and modify parking regulations on the west side of West Haven Drive from 9th Avenue to Patriot Lane, and that's also going to restrict the parking. So tell us a little bit about what this project is pertaining to.
Well, this is one of the first big bike lane projects that we have on the west side of Highway 41. And this is stretching from the primary residential area on West Haven south of 9th, and goes through a residential area in West Haven all the way up to Patriot Lane, which is really close to Highway 21, and the commercial area is there. So this was identified on our bike and pedestrian plan for a number of years. And so the idea is we don't need to do any reconstruction, but we do have to restrict parking, because essentially what happens is the parking on the west side of West Haven will be replaced with bike lanes on both sides. So when we repaint it, we'll still have 2 lanes of traffic, one in each direction, parking on the east side, but bike lanes on both sides. So I think it's going to be great for families. We got a lot of feedback from people that wanted something on the west side that they could use for transportation, to go shopping, to go to different areas, different parks and things like that in and around this area. So we're excited to be able to provide this, and that's why we're recommending it to council.
Excellent. Next thing under new resolutions is provide recommendation to Department of Transportation for the Jackson-Oregon Street Bridge. Now, this has been a topic of conversation for a while, this bridge, and we're starting to see some renderings and see what some of the options might look like.
I certainly didn't want council to take any action until they had a visual idea of what this was going to look like. And with our Public Works Department and the Department of Transportation, they did some photoshopping and came up with some renderings that now people can at least get an idea of what they look like. And I certainly encourage people to look at these on our website, but this shows you the existing bridge as it exists today. And if we were to redeck it, it's really just the same exact bridge. The Clearspan Bridge, which is the one that has gotten a lot of people concerned about because of the high profile nature of it. But you can see when you compare it from a little bit of distance that the impact isn't as great. This shot is taken from over near City Center by Beckett's Restaurant. Then the lift bridge is certainly the other one. You can see that the abutments have to be there in the middle of the river to handle all the mechanisms for a lift bridge. But you can see that they're both a little bit higher. The Clearspan Bridge would eliminate any need for a lift bridge. The real dilemma here has to do with the fact that the state says if they build a new bridge, they're going to put the maintenance and upkeep responsibilities on the city for keeps. So that's kind of the thing that's hanging over our head. So this shot that you see here is actually from the Morgan District property. So you can see that clearly the existing bridge is lower and the Clearspan Bridge is higher. But you can see that it's a little more open on the Clearspan Bridge, so I think that offers some advantages. The lift bridge, again, is lower than the Clearspan Bridge, which is advantageous. But you can see that the underside is a little more open with the Clearspan Bridge, even though it's higher. So a lot of it depends on what your perspective is. I don't have a specific recommendation to council, and I don't know if I necessarily will, but we're going to be analyzing this because the cost to maintain that lift bridge is significant, because when they put the maintenance responsibilities on us, they put the maintenance responsibilities for the bridge tender and all the operations of that, the inspection, the maintenance on the mechanics for the lift bridge, which is a lot more than a Clearspan Bridge. And if they leave that responsibility with us, they also leave the cost with us. So the state, I view this as poor public policy, shifting responsibilities on something that benefits a lot more than just City of Oshkosh residents. These roads are used, especially when 41 is closed because of an accident. They're driving up and down these streets and over these bridges. And without these bridges, traffic throughout the region and the state would not happen. So I just personally think it's poor public policy. But council has to make a recommendation to the DOT on what they would like to see. And there are a lot of people that have a lot of different perspectives on this. We felt that it was appropriate so you could see the renderings and also get an idea of what the cost is going to be. Because over the course of time, we're going to have to save money in our piggy bank to replace that bridge. Now, it's 75 years from now. We'll not be around at that time, but the reality is that we owe it to the future public to make sure that we do this right. And I feel very strongly about the cost being dumped on the city, and we have to factor that in with any decision.
Definitely. So we look forward to a lot of discussion about that at the council meeting. I definitely encourage people to check out our city website under the hot topics. You can get a closer look at a lot of those pictures that we just showed you and kind of see a little bit more of the details that you're looking at there. Next item we want to talk about under new resolutions is approval of the development agreement with Discovery Properties, and this is for the sale of a portion of the State Street parking lot. And this is having to do with the Washington building, which we've talked about before too.
We created a tax increment financing district to primarily fund the building of some garages that the developers believe will be more attractive to bring people to the downtown, higher rents, just bringing different groups of people down there. And the Washington building, the refurbishment they've done is just wonderful. But they feel that having garage parking is necessary. So we're going to work out a deal where we sell a portion of the State Street lot, and in turn the proceeds will also be applied towards fixing the remainder of the lot for the public to enjoy. State Street's not used a lot, so giving up some parking spaces for somebody that will actually use them is good, plus it'll put it back on the tax roll. So we think that this will be a good move long term, and this is the part where we agree that tax increment financing will be used to reimburse them for these types of costs that they're going to incur.
Excellent. Moving on here, 24 and 25 in the agenda is rejection of some bids for the Public Works contract for private side lead water replacement, lead water service replacements. Give us a little detail about that.
Well, you may recall a while back that the council had a presentation on lead service lines, and that's a concern that we have. And the council instituted a new rule that said if the city is replacing water laterals, that the services must also be replaced because you could create some lead problems. We bid out this work, and I received a grant that will help pay for half of the cost of a lateral or a service, up to $1,500. The bids we got were pretty bad. We think that the residents can do a better job of getting it bid out in the open market, and maybe get some local plumbers doing a few of these, and then another plumber doing more of them. We think we'll get a better deal by doing it that way. So we're going to recommend that we reject the bids and work with the residents to qualify plumbers who can do this work for them.
Definitely. And so definitely be on the lookout for more information about this as this moves forward. There's kind of a lot of information to go over, especially with the timing of it all. So we'll look forward to more conversation about that at the council meeting. Excuse me. Last item, Mark, report on special events stakeholder working group. This is under your announcements and statements.
Correct. The Parks Department, the staff for special events, and some other city staff have been meeting about what our special event fees are going to be looking like. Council asked us to take a break and take a look at it, and we felt it was appropriate to talk to some of our stakeholders, people who are actively involved in special events, and other people, regular citizens who have an interest in this topic. And they're taking a look at the methodology of how we put together these fees and really breaking it down and kind of starting all over again, which I think is a great idea because we've made so many piecemeal changes that it hasn't really fixed everything. If we break it down and start all over again, I think we're going to have a better product. So we're just giving them an update on what we're doing. We're on schedule to deliver a report to council soon, and I appreciate the stakeholders working with our staff to come up with this stuff.
Yes, well, it's great to see this project moving forward and the conversation continuing on that. So thank you for your updates today, Mark. That's going to do it for this episode of City Managers Report, so thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure.
Again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website, oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app. Make sure you like Oshkosh Media on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And of course, don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, send it to us on Twitter, post it on our Facebook page, or email it to us, and he will answer it on the next episode of City Managers Report. So with that, we thank you again for joining us on City Managers Report, and we'll see you next time.